do have our first guest?
The first Las Vegas-born world champion, the man himself, Ishe Smith. Man, I feel like Ishe, bro, I remember being a little kid, seeing him on the, what was that, the Contender?
Yes, sir. First Contender.
Yeah.
How are you, champ?
What's up, man? How y'all doing? What's going on, champ? What's up,
Good to see you. Thank you for coming in so
No
early, man.
problem, man.
Good to have you. We had to have you, man. You can't be the first-born Las Vegas champ and, not come to the studio, man. We trying to make this to the Hot 97 of boxing, the Breakfast Club of boxing, and we had to get you on, especially when I follow your Twitter so closely. And I believe you tweeted on May 29th something like, Earl Spence and Crawford is done. It would have been announced, and they wanted the Canelo date, but obviously Canelo's fighting Gennady, so that pushed everything back. Am I spot on?
You're absolutely spot on.
Obviously,
and I trust my sources.
Yeah. So, what would you say the new date would be? Because now we do have Canelo and we do have Gennady Golovkin.
Probably maybe November-ish. I really haven't. I just spoke about it that day. That's why I tweeted it and said what I said. I'm confident that it's done. And then right after I tweeted that, I think Luis Arias said he saw Earl running, in New York. So I was like, it just confirmed. Nobody
goes to New York to watch a fight and still runs.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a great fight. I think the fight is done. I think it's very close to being done. I think what probably messed them up more than anything is nobody thought Canelo would just jump right back after losing. So they probably explored that date and wanted to see if they could go on that date. And then when Canelo announced he was fighting Triple G, obviously that probably just threw some plans away. But, Canelo has earned the right to have those two dates. And they're probably just going November or something. But I was told it was done.
I'm pretty sure I seen something on Earl's story where he had like a soundbite that said sign the contract. So I felt like, okay, there is something happening. But now we know September's a special date for boxing. What's November?
I think some big fights happen in November. That fight needs its own. It needs its own month.
Mm-hmm.
You need, and everybody was like, they can go in August, or they can go, I think, or they can go in October. You got to have time. You got to have a big press tour for that kind of fight. You got to, you got to.
We ain't seen that in a while.
Oh my God, Ishe, don't tease me. Are they really gonna do a couple city press tour?
They have to. I mean, if they want to get, the landscape of boxing is still the same as it's always. Canelo is the face of the game. But when it comes to selling pay-per-view, you have two African-American fighters. In the boxing community, we love it, but can they transcend the sport and get those buys? You got to have a big city press tour. You have to have a big media push, and it just has to be done. I think they would fail if they didn't do that.
How many cities are you hoping for them to visit in this press tour?
Well, you got to visit California.
Okay.
You got to visit Texas. You got to visit where
Crawford's from.
Where Crawford's from.
So Nebraska.
And you got to visit New York.
I think that's not happening.
You got to visit New York. It has to be done. And I would say 5 or 6. You got to visit 5 or 6.
I hear the whole let's go to your city and my city, but the thing is, there's more fight people in Texas, so it makes financial sense to make that city stop. Mm-hmm. To go to Nebraska would just be being even to the fighter, but are we really bringing people from Nebraska?
Yeah,
right.
So, well, I think so, because let me tell you, being from Chicago, bro, a lot of people would drive from Nebraska, fly out for the fights. And I remember, when Crawford fought Posto, 3 days in a row, the flights were sold out coming to Vegas. So it was like people that, was trying to get in on Thursday, not getting in until Saturday, because it's like everybody driving up from Nebraska to Chicago. And
have they ever done a press conference in Nebraska, even when he was a hometown fighter?
I mean, I'm sure Fight Week, yeah, of course.
But that don't count. I'm talking about announcement. Because I think that's when Mayweather and Canelo got it, right? They had an 11-city press tour scheduled. They ended up doing 10. But look at those numbers. We've never seen numbers like that again until it was Mayweather-Pac and Mayweather-McGregor. I think there is something to be said in visiting so many cities and activating those cities and letting them know about the fight. But obviously there is a cost.
Right.
A lot of private jets,
Right,
a lot
right.
of food and renting of venues. I mean, I would assume they get those venues free too. Like, you know, we're bringing economics. You should at
Right,
least
right.
sponsor this event and give us the venue for free. I mean, I would hope.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of times too, like Live Nation, they have their venues that they partner with. So I'm sure if the venue free, they could do that. But I really hope that they do a press tour.
November. So are you predicting before or after Thanksgiving?
I would predict before. I would predict before because
Before we start spending on that holiday money.
You have a lot of stuff happening around the holidays. A lot of games, big games. I think the NBA kicks off in like end of October, so I would predict before. I would think somewhere around the middle of November. I'm just hoping it ain't no like last minute hiccups, because once when they say it's done, I'm not really convinced until the paperwork is actually signed. But I did heard that it was done, and all they was waiting on was a venue, and what through a hiccup and everything was Canelo fighting in September.
And I think that'd be great too, because if you think about it, you're right. You know, NBA kicks off about third week of October. At this point, you know, you'd already be a few months into the NFL season, college football. I think you'd have so many opportunities to promote that fight,
Right.
you know, and sell it and really, you know, give it that necessary push that it needs. So hopefully that is the case, and hopefully that is the case. But what's going on with you these days, champ?
Actually, I want to transition into another one of your tweets. I was trying to find that it would be better aesthetically to visually show you, but you know you tweet a lot. You got to be me, who watches everything you say for show purposes. So one day, obviously, I believe you kind of, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to misquote you, but you kind of agreed with Tank wanting to leave Mayweather Promotions. But I don't want to put any words or take out any. I can't find a tweet. If you could just let us know how you felt when you seen Tank get verbal on social media about leaving or not leaving.
Well, the thing about it is I've been knowing Tank since he first came to Mayweather Promotions. Before the fame, before the big social media buzz, before everything. I've been in the game since I was 8 years old. I grew up in the gym watching Mike Tyson, Felix Trinidad, Terry Norris, Gerald McCullen, some of the greats, even Roger Mayweather, Jeff Mayweather. I mean, I was in the gym with these guys literally as an 8-year-old, Azuma Nelson, watching them train, and I would just be like, man, I want to be that one day. I want to be great like them one day. And seeing Tank and just 16-ounce gloves, and he just parking people in the gym, and that's just really hard to do. You know, I know it's so hard. I don't care who you spar, man. It's hard to really, especially other pros or other like good established fighters. It's very hard to knock someone out in the gym, given the gloves. Given that you probably weren't running or training today, you know, you're not going to be your best in the gym all the time. And you got 16-ounce gloves on, headgear, and I'm watching him just stop guys. And I told him, I went up to him and said, man, I haven't seen that kind of power in a very long time. Since like my boy Diego, you know, coming up in the gym with him, and he took me under his wing. I haven't seen that kind of power in years, bro.
Corrals.
Yeah, Corrales. I said, man, you're special. I said, you are special. And Tank is very humble. He's very quiet, man. And he was just like, thank you. I was like, no, man, you're special, bro. And I was always, before anything, I was always capping for Tank. Like, I would always be like, yo, when everybody was saying he was afraid of Loma, I was like, yo, Loma don't want to see that dude. I was like, because if he catch Loma, he's going to hurt him. And Tank has always got that game changer. And I was always like, you know, I'm always going to ride with him just because of what I saw him in the gym. And I became a big fan then. So we go to today and how big he is, how he transitions the sport, his social media following. He's like a star, man. And it's like you can't have one guy saying, you know, he want to be his own boss and he leaves someone. And then if another guy does it, it's not good for the sport. He's disloyal. And what's wrong with Tank saying he want to be his own boss and get the money on the front and the back end by promoting himself or working with promoter? I'm not saying leave Al, but if that's something you want to do, position yourself to take more of the cut or more of the money or more slice of the pie, then why can't he do that? Why can it be good for one guy to do it, but it ain't good for another guy to do it?
And by one guy, you mean Canelo leaving Golden Boy?
Canelo leaving Golden Boy, or when Floyd left Bob Arum. It's not good for. It's good for them to do it and become their own boss.
Oscar left Bob as well,
but it's not good for Tank to do it and become his own. And honestly, I've been there. The relationship between them two is very toxic. It's a toxic relationship. It's up and down and up and down. And I'm not going to elaborate to everything that I know, but it's a very toxic relationship. And that's why when I tweet stuff, I don't tweet often, but when I tweet, I may fire off 50 tweets in the day. And that's why when I tweeted certain things about the relationship, Tank retweeted it because he knows. Like, I'm not just going to say what it is. It's a very toxic relationship. It's back and forth. And I think it will serve him best to go and be his own boss. He's a star, man. The fucking guy has the potential to everybody fucks with Tank. All the young people fucks with Tank.
You being on the inside, when you say be his own star, do you envision him staying with Al and now being kind of like Earl, promoted on that pay-per-view level through Al and let's say Tom Brown, right? Tom Brown.
Yeah. I would say stay with Al. Everybody got to realize the game is different. Back when I was coming up, you had various promoters. You had Goosen, you had Top Rank, you had Golden Boy, you had Don King, you had
Lou
all these
DiBella, Dimitri Salita.
Yeah, you had
fucking
all these.
Gary Shaw was in the business,
and I was signed with Gary Shaw early in my career.
Oh wow!
You had all these guys promoting and actually promoting, but now they don't. A lot of these guys, like you said, the Tom Browns and all them, they're just shells to put in Al's fighters. And this is cool. That's just the way the fucking game is now. But nobody actually promotes anymore. And I think if Tank really wants to maximize himself,
you don't think Eddie Hearn is promoting?
Absolutely not, because he can't get his fighters the right fight. Somebody tweeted me and said Tank should go to Eddie Hearn. He'll make a lot of money. I say he'll make a lot of money, but he won't get the fights that he want to get.
He'll get a Ryan fight.
He may get a Ryan fight, but
Regis Prograves over there with Probellum.
Why couldn't Devin get Ryan then? He was with Eddie. Why couldn't?
Because Devin doesn't bring the star power of. So it's risk versus reward. So for Ryan, he's like, man, I'm not about to lose to Devin for this when I could lose to Tank for this.
But it's still his fighter. He still was coming up with crazy bags promoting Devin, and he can never get Devin the kind of fights that Devin wanted. Yep. Devin made a shitload of money, but he never could get. And then as soon as he leaves Hearn, he gets the fight he wants. I mean, it's more proof. And it is. I love Eddie. I think he's great for the game. I love what he's doing with that network. But at the end of the day, it is about making money, but it's also about getting the fights that you want to get and leaving your legacy. And I think if Tank wants to leave a legacy in this game, I think Eddie is the wrong way. I think Al is cool, but I think he should promote himself and tell Al to get him the fights, that to go out and make those fights happen. It's just a lot of moving parts, and people don't realize Tank ain't fought nobody. He's afraid of, you got Showtime involved. You got all these networks involved. You got ESPN involved. It's hard to get these people to go, I'm going to take the back seat. I want this cut. I want that cut. I don't want that. It's a lot of moving parts that fans don't understand, that it's hard to agree on those type of things with the networks, with this fighter signed to ESPN, this fighter fighting on Showtime. Why should Showtime take a back seat? They've helped building up Tank. They've gotten him to this stage. Why should ESPN take a back seat? They helped build up this fighter, that fighter. And we see it with Terrence Crawford. With being with Bob Arum. Bob Arum could not deliver them big. He couldn't deliver an Earl Spence fight. These guys have these egos, man, and they don't do a lot of business together, and the fans don't know how that works. And then they start attacking me. I'm like, I'm telling you how the game is. This is just how the game is. These guys get vendettas against each other, and they don't work together, and it ends up affecting the fighters and the fans.
Do you think that for that very same reason, everything you just finished saying, this quote that we're discussing and debating, Shakur, and I quote, "I am better than Tank. He might not like it, but it's the truth. I don't lose rounds." is this just a quote and this fight won't happen because he's with Bob? Because Bob is also out there recently quoting, saying that Shakur should not go for undisputed at 130 because those fights mean financially nothing and no one's going to care. So right now, Tio's coming off a loss, so it makes no sense for Shakur to vacate belts and move up to fight Tio. Devin's tied up for 2 fights in Australia. The only name out there that's worth money is Tank and available. Like I don't know. What's he going to do? Move up to 140 and fight Barbosa or Gabriel Flores? It's like nothing there for Shakur. Do you think this could be more than a tweet? Do you think that we can actually see that fight, or is it too soon?
Way too soon. Bob Arum ain't letting that fight happen.
What?
And I don't think I think Allen wouldn't let that fight happen right now. I don't think the oven is hot enough for that fight right now. And what I mean hot enough, Shakur has all the talent in the world. He's one of the best fighters in the game today. Very special to watch. Tank, I've already told y'all how I feel about Tank. But if you had to go off star power right now, who's more known, Tank or Shakur? Just off star power. And I'm not talking about boxing-wise. Outside of the sport, who's more known, Shakur or Tank?
Tank is, but
no,
like Rolly,
ain't no but.
Shakur will talk this fight up.
Shakur
and
will
he's
talk.
backed by the right people. He got ESPN, he got James Prince. Like,
yeah, but
it will be good. If Rolly did that.
At the end of the day, it's about who's more known right now. And I think the fight does well, but I think if you let it simmer a little bit longer, it does better. And I think I just don't think it makes sense right now for them to. I mean, as a fan, I want to see it. But
so what you want from Tank next?
I think Tank should go. I think, honestly, with Devin being tied up, I think Ryan Garcia is the perfect fight for Tank. After his fight July 16th.
Fortuna,
Yeah, I think it's the perfect fight.
You really think he going to take that fight?
I think
he knows he loses that fight.
I think Tank will definitely take it. I mean, he should beat Fortuna. Bar if he comes out of that fight unscathed, I think them two should fight and they should make it. They should make it happen. Like I said, the problem is it's a lot of moving parts. Now you got Golden Boy. We don't know what Tank's promotional situation is going to be if he stays with Mayweather promotion. If he stays, I think he should stay with Al. But it's just a lot of moving parts in that fight. And but I think that's the fight to make. And they tried to make it before. And the guy went and said he had a Pacquiao fight, and he kind of dished out of negotiations. I didn't really know how far they had got along in the talks. I do know they was trying to make that fight, and the guy just announced, I'm fighting Pacquiao. So I just didn't know what that was about. But I think that's the fight to make. Because both guys have a big following. That fight would do crazy-ass numbers, I think, on the pay-per-view side of things. But again, like I said, it's a lot of moving parts to get people to agree, to get people to take back seats, to get people who takes the bigger cut, who's this, that. It's just a lot of moving parts. And when you got two superstars, it's them two, Ryan Garcia and Tank, who's going to give in a little bit? And that's the thing that makes these fights very tough to make, and fans do not understand that.
Why is Ryan a superstar and not Shakur in your eyes?
I think Ryan's a little bit more known than Shakur. And I think his team has done a great job promoting him. I mean, the guy's already got a fucking Gatorade deal. And that's unheard of. That's unheard of in boxing. It's unheard of in boxing. I mean, you got to think back in the day when fucking, Sugar Ray Leonard had like Pepsi or Coke back in the day, and we had major brands. It's very hard to get a major brand to sign on to deal with boxing anyway, just because how the sport is. And the fact that guy was able to secure a Gatorade deal at such a young and tender age that he is, without really doing nothing in the game yet, is, I think he has I don't think he's a better fighter. I don't think he could touch Shakur, but I think he has a bigger following, and there's a difference. The girls fuck with him. They love him. He has that De La Hoya-esque look to him. When De La Hoya was young and in his prime, he has that S to him, and they fuck with him. But I don't think he beats Tank. I don't think he beats Shakur. I think Shakur needs a couple more defining fights, but he is special, man.
When it comes to Ryan, would you consider him an intelligent businessman, or has he just been lucky to have gained such a big following?
I think who's ever been behind him with the social media, this new world, this push, I think they've done a tremendous job with that. And I think the fact that he can fight as well. He's one. Nobody thought he was gonna beat that kid. I think from England. Can't think of his name.
Luke Campbell.
Yeah, I think he got off the canvas and shown that he can fight. So that has helped him out. At the end of the day, you can have the biggest following, but you still have to be able to fucking fight. At the end of the day, you still got to be able to fight, and I think he's shown he can fight. I don't think he beats any of those guys. I don't think he beats Tank. I don't think he beats Shakur. I think him and Devin is maybe a toss-up, but Devin, I think, is a little bit more intelligent for him, possibly. So Teofimo, if he fought a dumb fight like he did against Kambosa, I think he would be in trouble against Garcia. But I will put him towards the tail end of that weight class. But I think he's still a tremendous fighter. But when I start comparing him to Tank and Shakur and all those guys, I don't think he can beat none of those guys. But he's done a terrific job promoting himself, and his team behind him has done a terrific job promoting himself.
Speaking of promotion, and the reason I asked you, do you feel he's an intelligent businessman, is obviously over the weekend he made a live bet for $20,000 on Rolly versus Earl. And, I like to think outside the box. I felt like there was no way he was betting $20,000 on Rolly. This was his $20,000 worth of advertisement. I feel like the world picked up that he made this ridiculous bet. Now, the world stood on top of it in terms of news cycle to see would he pay the bet. Then he paid the bet. So do you think he really thought Rolly had a shot, or was that some sort of marketing ploy to keep his name in the news cycle?
I think his disdain for Tank a little bit, maybe a little bit of jealousy somewhat. Every fighter, when you get to the top, you don't like people taking your limelight a little. And then that's why he said he wants to fight him. I think he maybe thought Rolly had a chance. Rolly, if you look at it, I think Rolly has clips. Rolly have clips of him maybe fucking him up in the gym before.
Of Ryan.
Ryan. So thing about Rolly, he can punch, but he may have thought Rolly had a puncher's chance, but Rolly, look, man, he can punch, but he's too wild. And, he doesn't set nothing up. And he's strong. And I tweeted, he reminds me a lot of Mayorga. And, it just was a matter of time that
more disciplined, though, for sure.
Yeah, but I just knew it was a matter of time before he was going to get caught.
I was fucking selling the over. I was selling the over. Ishe, I said, man, this dude went 11 with a busted Achilles heel and made it to 12 with Gamboa. 11 with Barrios, who started at 22. 7.5 with fucking Leo.
But those are all. I tell people those are all. When Tank doesn't make weight, go bet the over. Because when he makes weight,
yeah, but the over was only 6.5, bro.
And
he wasn't giving Rolly telling 6.5.
Yo, my man's look, Ishe, and you might laugh, but I've been telling him. I kept telling him the under, and then we saw the weigh-in, and I was like, my man's ain't even got a fucking haircut. I'm like, he locked in.
Yeah.
He came in more than a pound under. What? He got the diet, bro. They've been putting the acupuncture. They was doing all that shit. He had the right people in camp.
Yeah, a focused Tank is a dangerous one. If he misses weight, that is a problem. And he's missed weight before, and I've tweeted like, bro, you gotta focus. Like, I know when he's right and I know when he's not right. When he misses weight, that's a problem. Something was not right in camp. Maybe he got to camp late. But if you go back and you look at his fights, all them fights where he missed weight, he didn't look the best. I think he missed weight in the Gamboa fight. I don't think he made weight in that fight.
He came back like an hour or two later.
When he don't make weight and he has to go cut that weight, there's always been, maybe camp didn't go as well, maybe something was going on, maybe he was having issues, but when that kid makes weight and he's focused, he's a problem. He's a real problem. I'm telling you, he reminds me so much.
So if the fight does happen, who you picking?
Against him and Ryan?
No, Shakur.
That's a tough fight, man, because Shakur has excellent boxing ability, but Shakur has to do that for 12 rounds. And the thing about Tank is he's strong, and we know that, but he's fast and he can box as well. He showed us he has intelligence, and Rolly kept him honest with that power. Because Rolly can punch. He kept him honest with that power, and he just took him out at the right time. So that's a very tough fight, but I would say it's more tougher for Shakur. He's got to be on his game that's the thing. The dude got the game changer. He has to be on his game for 12 rounds. He can't make no mistakes. And like I said, Tank is fast. I'm gonna always pick Tank against any of those guys. A focused Tanks. Talk to me at the weigh-in if he missed weight or something. Then we can discuss what I think after that.
I was gonna say Tank versus Devin Haney is a fight that I've been wanting because I went to so many Haney fights and so many Tank fights. Obviously, Tank brings them out more, but it's kind of the same audience. I want to see those audiences, intertwine. When I go to a Tank fight, I always tell people it's like a fucking movie. All the stars are there, all the women are there, and they're dressed to impress. And it's similar for Haney. I mean, I went to either the Linares or the Diaz fight, and it's like Skittles of Lamborghinis. You know what I mean? So they bring out
Skittles of Lamborghinis. I like that.
Absolutely, bro.
No,
Every fucking
right.
color. It was insane. I was on a live, like, bro, I never seen this many Lamborghinis. And it was a Haney fight. But then I went to Tank. What was the
It was the next day.
No. But that was the next day. But I mean, I think the Tank in Atlanta, the cars in Atlanta, like I had to park it because they had a beautiful, like really big parking lot that you park on the grass, bro. They had so many cars. Like these guys bring them out. So that's the fight I want from a like big for business for boxing fight. But I'm very biased. I've been fucking covering Devin since he was 12 years old doing pad work with Mayweather. And I pick boxers. Notoriously for 11 years, I've been picking the boxer over the puncher. I feel like that's the kryptonite. Like that's why I would pick Shakur or lean Shakur because, that's what boxers do. They outbox Wilder. Like he was the puncher, Fury's the boxer. So
but you can't compare Tank to Wilder.
Of course not.
Wilder is somewhat one-dimensional and doesn't use his jab. He's not the fastest, but he you can't compare Tank.
No, of course not.
Tank has a little bit more skills. Those guys.
Everyone we've interviewed has said he can box. That we just haven't seen it yet. So and I think we've seen shades of that now twice in his last two fights with Cruz, and he had to be a counterpuncher with Rolly. So I know that he can box, but again, he's not the traditional like Devin and Core keep you at distance with that fucking jab, and every now and then dig to the stomach. Right. So I'm just gonna pick the boxer. But what do you think, Devin versus Tank? Because I know you've been in the gyms with them.
If I had to rank them guys, I would put Shakur. Obviously I'm gonna put Tank 1. I'm gonna put Shakur 2. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put Devin 3. I'm gonna put Ryan like 4 and Teofimo 5, just because even though I love Teofimo, it's just I don't know what type of fight he's gonna fight. What type of fight, what identity are you gonna have? I think the Cambosa fight should have been an easy fight for him. I think he got overzealous and his dad and their pride. They went out there trying to knock that kid out, and then when that didn't happen, he was in trouble. Even though I think he's also killing himself to make that weight as well. But I would rank them like that. And the problem with Bill has done a tremendous job promoting Devin and getting him. At the end of the day, it's about maximizing the money. There's so much money in this game nowadays. Devin,
you didn't put Loma in your list.
He's on the outside looking in because I don't know what he's defending his country. He's all over the place. I think he's special, but let's see when he comes back from this long layoff of what's going on in the Ukraine, how he's going to be. But I would somewhere put him right after, like, if I had to put him, I would put him somewhere, like, I would put him 3 instead of...
Wow, you going to rank him above the man that beat him in Tio?
Yeah, because I think he fought the wrong fight. I think he fought the wrong fight. And Teofimo has since lost to Kamboza. So, and he didn't look great in doing so. It was clearly he lost.
So you won't even put Kambosos up there because I ain't hit him.
No, because I'm not.
You expecting Devin to beat him?
Yes, I'm not. I don't go off one fight. It's like a whole body of work. Whether you winning or you losing, it's got to be a body of work. And honestly, it's gonna be hard for Devin to win over there. It's very tough. You got the judges stacked against you. You got a whole fucking country stacked against you. It's gonna be tough. But at the end of the day, I don't see what he does better than Devin to win this fight. Devin is not gonna fight as dumb as Teofimo fought.
Absolutely not.
So I tweeted that. Like I'm trying to rack my brain around and I love George's ambition. I love that he says, give me the best. I don't believe he was forced to fight Haney. I think when Loma pulled out, he could have fought anyone. He could have just said, I want a homecoming fight, Lou. Get me a top contender. Let me fight my home.
Lou came on this show and said he could have fought anybody in Australia.
So I do not believe that to be the case. So I definitely love George's ambition. Listen, at the end of the day, if he could have fought you and made $1 million, he would have fought you. I think he maximized the money by fighting Haney, but I don't believe he had to fight Haney. So I think that's I don't think he was forced where he was either Loma or Haney or no fight. I don't believe that. I love his ambition, but I sit back and I think, how can he win this fight? And I don't see him doing anything well to beat Devin. And I also see, I don't know what Devin is going to bring. He has a good jab. He has good boxing ability, but I think he's going to do enough to beat him. But when you start comparing them against the other fighters, the Shakurs, the Tanks, I just think those guys are at the top, even more so over Loma. Loma's great, but we haven't really seen a lot of Loma. And we haven't seen him be great in a while. I mean, I think they oversold
But what about his 2 last wins? Like, he beat those dudes better than the dudes that took their undefeated records from him.
That's
like,
true.
he beat Comey better than Robert Easter and better than, I ain't gonna say better than Teo because Teo one-punched him, but definitely did better than Teo in the Nakatilia fight.
Yeah.
Nakatani, excuse me.
I don't know. I think Loma's good, but I'm just not oversold on him like everybody else was. Everybody was anointing him. Like, everybody was comparing him like to some of the greats that ever fought. And I'm like, wait a minute. And even after he lost to Salida, they're like, oh, but he fought him. And it's like, bro, hold on. Pump the brakes a little bit. Pump the brakes. Like, I think they oversold him. And I just want to see him see him against those type of guys, see him against the Tanks, the Shakurs, the Devin Haneys, and see how he does against those guys. I'm not oversold like a lot of those people are oversold. I think he's tremendous and I think he's great and I'm a fan, but I'm just not oversold like a lot of people are oversold. And I don't know where to rank him yet because I haven't really seen enough since the Teo loss to rank him where he want to be. That's why I got Teo so low because I don't know what he's going to bring after losing to George and how he fought. Like, how are you going to bounce back now? So I kind of got them. If I got Teofimo 5, I got him 5 too because I just want to see how both of them looks. And I think we've only had one fight for him since the Teo fight.
Obviously, you being a fighter and I think you can be a fantastic commentator. I want to ask you, can you help us be better, right? Because I look at Haney, Kambosos, and I think Haney Linares and say to myself, well, Linares was a 3-time champion. He was a legitimate puncher. He's faster than George. Yeah, I'm picking Haney. But it's not that easy, is it?
No, it really isn't. Linares is a puncher. Everybody knows he can punch. He stopped people in the gym. And I keep saying that's so hard to do with the bigger gloves and the headgear. Haney came out of that. Even though he got hurt. That probably was good that he got hurt like that at such a young in his professional career. Listen, George is a dog, and he has my respect. I love the underdog just because that's kind of the role I played my whole career. The spoiler, didn't get a lot of decisions go my way, had some go my way. I fought anybody. I love that about George, but when I sit back and I take that out of the equation and I have to say, what does he do better than Haney? I can't find much of anything, and I don't think Haney is going to fight him the way that Teo fought him, just going in there trying to knock him out and getting some type of brawling match. Haney's not gonna fight him like that. Listen, I hope I'm wrong and I see a good fight, but I just don't see it. The problem is the way this game is set up is Devon's got to go there twice if he wins, and I just don't like that.
There could be a loophole. There could be a loophole for the second fight because the original contract stated that both Devon and Bill had to be in the country. Devon is
so technically this fight.
Technically, Devon could have pulled out, and
well, obviously you don't want to pull out of this fight.
I mean, but technically he could have pulled out because the contract terms weren't met. So I don't know if that means after he wins, can he do the fucking same, or at least use that clause as terms for a renegotiation of country? Because it's like I won, plus I signed up to go over there with my dad. He's not allowed, but now that I won, I will still fight your ass. But it ain't gonna be over there because I want my dad present.
Right. I mean, it's a lot of ways that I think they could get through that. Like I said, they can make him come here and say, "I'll fight you, but I'll fight you here because it's my dad." Australia has some very strict.
It's not fair. He didn't even get approved. He fucking went to Afghan twice and fought for this country. It's insane. That's not even fair.
So I think Devon was a little bit misled when George said he tried everything. They're very strict, and it has nothing to do with George. It has nothing to do with it. They're just very strict. It's hard to get in that country if you have any type of past criminal history. So I think George probably did do something, but it's nothing he can do. I mean, at the end of the day,
can you find any way to bet the under or Haney by knockout in this fight?
I wouldn't touch that. It's the over. I don't see Devon. I don't think Devon punches like that. I think he has accumulation of power. Like it takes multiple shots, and I don't think George is gonna get hit that much. If he withstood Teo's power, and that went the distance, I don't.
But did you expect Haney to land as many shots? I mean, that first 6 rounds of the Linares fight, if not 7, was it was like Mayweather Canelo, and it was so many punches landing on Linares. I don't even. He thought he was gonna get hit that much.
Yeah, I didn't. But he never finished him or put him out. I don't think Devon, and that's not a knock on Devon. He just don't have that. I didn't have that power. We don't. He has an accumulation of power. Like it takes multiple shots to get you out of there, and I don't think he's gonna get. I think it's definitely gonna go.
Yeah,
a decision at -105 is that.
I got it plus money. I found it plus money on DraftKings plus 100. So
yeah, you better lock that in because it's gonna change.
It's even money, but yeah, I definitely.
No, plus money is better than minus money. Especially plus 100 because every 100 you put is your 100 plus the 100 back.
Right.
I would have to bet 100
and 5 to bet to win 100 back. Yeah, I get you.
So Ishe, we got
But see, that's the thing though. That's the thing, and I don't know, and that's why I'm just scared to even bet that because even though what you saying, Ishe, psych. I'm like, I don't know. I've been in camps with Devon for about 4 years. I have not seen Devon hit the way he's been hitting this camp. And now that he's out there,
remember for the Linares fight, he grew an inch. He's also older. He's only 23. He's younger than all the guys we've been talking about. He's younger than Tank, younger than Shakur, younger than Keyshawn. So it's like,
I think
maybe he's starting to get that man strength.
Yeah.
But we hoping though. We just hoping for a knockout. Because I want to bet for sure.
If he knocks him out, it's gonna be later. And like I said, accumulation of power. I could see it, but I wouldn't. If you ask me if I would bet it, no. Because he's not really known for that. And that's okay. He's still a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's still gonna go down in the history. He's still making a shitload of money. He doesn't need to be a power puncher. He don't need to be a knocker. He don't need to be Tank.
Yeah,
Shakur's not Tank. Shakur not just sleeping.
But isn't that the reason the Tank is Tank and Shakur isn't a superstar to you, and you don't have Devon as number one? Is because they're missing that it factor?
Absolutely, but that's okay. That happens. I mean, you look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wasn't known because he was Muhammad Ali. Mike Tyson was known because he was fucking Mike Tyson. He was knocking everybody out. Everybody went to see Mike Tyson, and they knew like if you not in your seat by the first round, you probably gonna miss a knockout. Mike Tyson had everybody on their seats, and it was hard to even get out of the first couple rounds with him. So that was what Tank has, and it's okay that those guys don't have that, or they're not known for that. They're still tremendous and great fighters, and they're still making a lot of money. Shakur is, like I said, I will put him 2 right behind Tank. Like I said, I would have Loma in the mix, but just not seeing enough of them. These guys are active. They're actually going. See, I do my list a little different. Everybody, if I was doing a pound for pound, I would pull Fury out the list. He said he retired. Why am I going to keep? It's a subjective list anyway. If a guy tells me he announces retirement,
I seen you agree with Stephen A. Smith too.
Yeah, if you announce your retirement right after you fight, why the hell am I gonna keep ranking you? Now, pulling them out of the sanctioning bodies is one thing until I officially know. But if I'm just doing a subjective list, your list is gonna be different than mine. Your list it's a subjective list. It's based off opinions. So nobody can have a wrong list because of what your eyes see. I would pull Fury out. And if I'm looking at the eye test and I'm looking at Tank, it's about a guy that transcends the sport, a guy that can punch, that you believe can go up to multiple weight classes and possibly make an impact. I can't disagree with Stephen A. Smith and say, well, having him 5. What am I putting Loma in there based on what?
But you got Crawford.
Yeah, I will have Crawford in there.
You got Canelo.
I will still have Canelo number 1.
You got Jermell Charlo, just undisputed.
I would actually have Jermell in my top 3.
You got Core, 2 division, current unified champ.
He would be up there too. You know, you got Josh Teller, undisputed. He only lost 1 title, but I can see if you don't have him at top 5 because the Jack Catterall fight. Yeah, and we don't see him enough. And the last fight. Remember, it's a subjective list. It's not.
So Earl didn't make your list. I understand that because it's like, bro, he only unified.
He wouldn't make my top 5.
Exactly.
But he would make my top 10.
Absolutely.
He would make my top 10.
Absolutely.
But if you ask
because a guy like Better Beef did what Earl did a long time ago.
I wouldn't have him in my top 5.
Better Beef either?
No.
Earl. Where's Better Beef?
I would have him in my top 10.
Top 10?
I wouldn't have.
I think Earl's above him now because he got 3 belts and Better Beef has to win the Smith belt.
I don't know if I would have Bevo in my top 10.
Oof. After that big ass win, you beat a pound for pound, you ain't in the pound for pound? Come on, you say no way.
No. Sugar Ray Robinson went up to light heavyweight and he lost. Nobody in there, he lost because he was dehydrated. All he had to do was finish the fight, but technically he lost. He lost fighting for the light heavyweight championship of the world, just like Canelo did. And nobody in their right mind would have ranked the guy he lost to, which I can't think of his name off the top. I tweeted it, but nobody in their right mind would have thought that light heavyweight was better than Sugar Ray Robinson and ranked him ahead of Sugar Ray Robinson. Canelo's trying to do great things. There's nothing in my mind that's going to make me think Bivol should be ahead of him in the pound for pound rankings. Look at what that guy has done the last 24 months in this game. Look at what he's done. So I'm just going to erase. It's not like he went out there and he got starched and he got knocked out in 2 rounds. That's a whole different other discussion. He lost. Okay, but he went all the way up to light heavyweight. This is a guy we're talking about that fought Floyd at 154 pounds and lost. And now he's going up to light heavyweight. He cleaned out 168. He's done so much. So no.
So you're not of the mindset of those people that say that he went on a Euro tour for 168, that he only undisputed because Benavidez lost his belt. Like, there's people that actually don't give him credit for being undisputed at 68.
If you want to, listen, that we all make mistakes, and I'm not going to sit on this podcast and whatnot and sit here and blame Benavidez for the mistakes he's made. But if you want to blame anybody, blame the sanctioning bodies. The WBC should have never fucking stripped him. They should have given him a chance to right his wrongs and maybe get some counseling, get some type of drug. We're stripping the guy because he tested positive out of a fight and out of a fight just off a random test
and I don't remember them doing that to Chavez when he popped for marijuana.
Yeah, out of drugs. Listen, the WBC is one of the fucking crookedest, most they're all crooked. They're all crooked. They're not.
But if we had to have you rank them, who's your number 1?
Who? Out of the belt?
Sanctioning bodies. Oh shit! Wait. For those that don't know, he might be biased. He's an IBF champ.
Yeah. You know what? But I think the IBF maybe got caught doing something with the rankings with Bob Arum back in the day.
They have some, but I put it like this. I said WBC is the most prestigious and all the fighters want it the most. But the IBF If you in their rankings, you get in your mandatory. They don't want to hear nothing about nothing.
Right.
You get in your shot.
I think WBO is more towards like a top rank. It's just
And Frank Warren.
Yeah, it's just so.
But the WBA
political.
they say is what benefits Al.
The WBA is terrible because there's way too many fucking belts. It's way too many. You got, I'm the 7-Eleven champion. I'm the Kmart champion. I'm this champion. There's so many belts. You don't know who the fuck the champion is. You don't know who the real champion is. And that is the problem with boxing. It's too many fucking belts. It should be an interim title. So if I go out and I fight you and it's a champion, I should fight you for the interim. And right after I win that title, I should be guaranteed a shot at the champion. That's all it should be in these weight classes. Not this, like you can't have multiple franchise champion. You this champion, you that champion.
They got
It's too
super
many.
champion, regular champion, interim champion, gold champion,
Too much,
intercontinental champion.
Too much.
Listen, we got a couple of questions from the people, and we got our next guest, Michael Hunter, heavyweight, gonna go across the pond to fight Huey Fury in the building. We got Ruin of 504 New Orleans. He said, what was the key to your long championship career?
You know what? I never hung out. Like I never stayed out, and I never. So many of these guys, they drink and do drugs out of camp, and you know you learn what you put in your body. Your body's like a car, man. You learn what you put in your body in camp and out of camp affects you, your life. It took me 17 years before I touched the canvas for the first time. I think Vanes was the first one to put me down. It took me 17 years after being in there with the Randall Baileys, the K9s, and so many, you know, sparring so many people. You know,
you fought Jacobs like 20 years ago, man.
And, you know, it's just what I did outside of camp, you know, promising never to drink, never to do drugs. It helped me long in my career. But, you know, those guys just end up being just too fast. When I got to the tail end of my career, you know, I think I had some great fights towards the tail end against, you know, I think Julian Williams was one of my best fights of my career. And I went out there and I gave it my all. And I still don't agree with those scores. But, you know, when you can do that, I think that's so important. And some of these kids, they get caught up in drinking and smoking and out of camp, in camp. Dude, you can't be a part-time fighter. You either in or you're out. We're not out here playing football. I could stay up all night, go to the strip club, drink, and go play a football game. We hear about NBA players doing that. You can't do that in beatboxing, man. You either in or you out. You in 100% or you out 100%. So you gotta. That's how you last so long.
I have Coach Myers all the way in Connecticut says, you were critical of Gervonta Davis leaving Mayweather Promotions. Some people want Crawford to sign to Mayweather. Do you think Mayweather puts his fighters in positions to be successful or no?
Old Floyd put his fighters, when he was fighting, he cared. He cared. I watched how he cared for fighters. When he stopped fighting, it changed. He changed. It became more about, these guys are asking me for this, they need to go get fucking jobs. And I think when he retired, it became more about that. And I think he lost vision of what he really wanted to do. And he did for me what no promoter was willing to do. And I won a world championship, and it was great. And people say, well, why you take shots? Why you say this? Why you say that? You know, he did this for you. And I tell them like this, listen, if I was married to a woman for fucking 15 years and she cheated on me in 1 year and I'm supposed to get about her cheating and say she gave me 15, I'm not indebted to you the rest of my life because you did something great for me. I appreciate it, and I'm gonna show my appreciation. But he changed. And he changed, and his view of promoting changed. And I watched guys starve and be under that promotion. And I watched guys have promises broken to them, and that whether he knew about it or he not knew about it, it was under his watch. I watched a guy like Lonnie B beat guys and was promised certain things, and things didn't happen. I watched myself. You know, when I beat the kid from New York, I had a choice to fight the kid from New York or the kid from New York that I can't fucking think of his name. So bad with names now.
Frank Galarza?
Frank Galarza. I had the choice between him or the Mexican kid that Lubin ended up knocking out.
Coulter.
So I had the choice. Fuck, you're good. Shit. So I had the choice between him and Coulter. And they said, you can fight Coulter, or, you know, we don't know what that's going to do for you, far as, you know, you'll be back in the mix. But if you fight Galarza, you know, your next, if you beat him, you'll be on the neck, you'll get a title shot next. And I, of course, I was going to make more fighting Coulter. We're talking about maybe 40,000 more. But fighting for another world title, especially after, you know, getting my second shot against Lara, he was fucking tremendous. I said, give me Galarza. I'll take the 40K, 50K hit because I want another world title.
Yeah.
You can't be making promises to guys, and then these guys are hungry. Boxing is such a hard sport. You know, we got to provide for our families. We got to have insurance. We got to do this. We got to do this. And then you give interviews and you're taking shots at the same fighters you promote. Those guys need to go get fucking jobs and this and that. So it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, steered our relationship the wrong way. We don't fuck with each other no more, and that's fine with me. Like I've been knowing that dude since I was like 9, 10 years old. If you ask me about him, 50-0, probably you can argue he's one of the fucking best that ever did it. And he's gonna be in that discussion, whether you fucking like it or not. He's in that discussion. When you talk about Ali, when you talk about Ray Robinson, you don't have to agree with it, but he's going to be in that discussion. You don't have to, you could say, well, he didn't fight this guy. He didn't fight that guy. You got to put him in that discussion. He beat a lot of fucking guys you thought was going to beat him or could make a chance to beat him, no matter what you say. But if you ask me on a personal level, no, I think, you know, I think he did a lot of things wrong. I think when he retired, he lost fact of why he started promoting. And I think he, you know, I wish him the best. He's doing his thing, but I definitely think Tank would be better off served elsewhere, served by himself because of what he's building up and what he's doing. And I just know the relationship is toxic. They're never going to be, it's always going to be water and oil, man. It's never just going to be, if they can get it to where it mixes and it works, great. But I've just seen it too much. And Maya Angelou had a great, when people show you who they are, believe them. And I just don't think that the relationship is going good between them two. I don't think it'll ever be good. I think it'd be good for a season, and then the following season, they'll be beefing about something.
Did you ever have the thought, and now that I'm bringing it up, would you ever contact a Floyd or a Ellerbe, and did you have that thought of being like the B-Hop to Mayweather, where, you know, B-Hop was a champion, Golden Boy offered him a percentage, and he became not only a recruiter for them and signed fighters, but he became kind of a face, which is kind of missing. Yeah, everybody knows Floyd Mayweather promotion is Floyd, but he doesn't show up to the press conferences. He's not giving quotes. Like, did you ever see, or do you believe you can be kind of like a B-Hop CEO recruiter role in a promoter company?
I think when I was there at the peak of everything, I was there when Luis Arias got signed. I was there when Jay Leon got signed. We was like the peak, like the first of the first. And nobody would rep that shit harder than we did. And nobody definitely repped it harder than me. Like when it came to like the gear, the clothes, I spent my own money, thousands of dollars of the brand, because I was very appreciative what it was doing for the fighters. You mean, I came from a situation where I was with Gary Shaw, and I fought and beat fucking what's fucking name?
So
guy from fucking Chicago. You from Chicago? You know us. David Estrada.
Okay.
So I beat David Estrada. He was undefeated. I was undefeated. Showbox, and I beat him. I beat him for 10K Showbox. And these fucking kids are making so much money now. It fucking disgusts me because I should be making this money. But I beat him. We was both undefeated. And I beat him for 10K. And I was hot. I was ranked in every sanctioned body. They come to me and they say, we got Randall Bailey for you. This going to put you right on the cusp of fighting for a world title. And I was like, yes, fucking yes. I want the former champ. I want to prove how great I am. I'm fighting this guy, and I got fucking like 12, 13 fights. I got like 13, 14 fights. Give me Randall Bailey. I don't give a fuck. I could beat him. I know I could beat him.
At 54 or 47?
47.
47.
Damn, he was a puncher.
Yeah, they said, well, we got, and he knocked a lot of motherfuckers out after he fought me. And I said, well, give him to me. How much I'm making? 11,000. I said, fuck, 11,000? I just beat David Estrada for 10,000. Fuck,
and
you gonna
he's
pay?
an Olympian.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck you gonna pay me 11,000 for fighting Randall Bailey? And they basically went back and said, listen, this is take it or leave it. It's 11K or no fight. I said, shit. So I said, I have a wife, I have a son, I got bills, I gotta live. I had to take the fight. That's the type of shit they put fighters through. I gotta take the fight. Take the fight, beat Randall Bailey. Very tough fight, dealing with cuts inside my mouth, the same cuts that Diego was dealing with when he fought Casamayor. Ironically, me and Diego had the same fucking orthodontist that made our mouthpiece. The mouthpieces were tearing up the inside of our mouths. I think he ended up getting a cut like over here from the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece fucked him up. Mouthpiece fucked me up. I still got two big things in my mouth right now from the mouthpiece from it healing. No excuse, no matter I won. Dude, I get to the locker room, get my check. My check is like $3,400. I'm looking at the check, and all this is, I'm looking at the fucking check, and I'm just like, they're like, well, you had sanctioning fees, because I fought for 3 minor belts. You got sanctioning fees for this belt, that belt, that belt. You had training camp fees, and I'm just like, what the fuck, $3,400, and I just went 12 rounds? This fucking guy hit me with a body shot in the 12th round. I almost shit on myself. And this is the shit I'm fighting for. I'm like, man, I was like, shit. So when I sit back and I look at that, and then I never envisioned that I would just not have much to say about my time there. Like I said, I see a guy like Luis Arias, and he beat Jarrett Hurd, fucking tremendous fucking win. Great, that was a tremendous win. What the fuck are you doing fighting Von Alexander after that?
Off TV.
What the fuck? Who the fuck told you, like, who told you to do that? But when you're in that situation, and I know like situations like Lonnie B, I know situations like Aria, and these guys may come and they may do interviews disagreeing with me because that's what they got, their little armies, but I know the truth. I know he shouldn't have been fighting a guy like Von Alexander after beating fucking Jarrett Hurd. I do know that.
He was supposed to get the Harrison fight according to his interview with us. But Ishe, we do got Michael Hunter, who's in camp. Okay. He came down from the mountain. We're going to go ahead and take this quick intermission, take this picture with the former world champ, and we'll be right back with the new I think there's some sort of title he keeps saying he's going to bring back home, so we're going to check it out.
Yeah, interim belt on the line.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.